Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the second podcast of The Benchmark. Today, inshallah, we will continue the topic that we presented in the first podcast, namely, that are non Muslims living in the West more honest? Are they better people than us Muslims living here? Why this topic? Because it is a common misconception. It is a thing very common among Muslims, especially Pakistanis, and we think that people of Europe and America are better people. They are better human beings, especially the fact that they are following Islam better than us. They are following Islamic teachings better than us, even though we are Muslims and they are not. And what we think is that this is a big misconception. It is very misleading. And therefore, we are here to present some facts to our audience. And there are a few big topics that can easily be discussed and searched on the internet as well. But generally, people are unaware of these topics. So, inshallah, we will begin with the topic of the wars that America has fought. The topic is that we think that they are better human beings, they are more honest. So, let's see the wars that America has fought. What moral character of the nation or the American nation do we see? First, before starting, I would like to introduce my guests. We have on my right hand side, Brother Zakwan. He is a student of O2 and deputy representative of the Discipline House. And on my left is Brother Talha Rizwan, and you saw him in the first podcast as well. And he's also the deputy representative of Discipline House. So, Brother Zakwan, I would like you to shed some light the moral character of America that we see from the wars that they have fought.
First of all, to conclude all the details, I would like to say that American wars are just American lies. So I would start with the 2001 incident that when America attacked Afghanistan. So the America shows the world that Afghanistan's leader Osama bin Laden had something to do with the 9/11 attacks that were basically the destroying of the Twin Towers. Though I would like to add that this crime was not proved at all, and even though America knew this and all the world know this, but America attacked Afghanistan. They killed millions of civilians, and they blamed again the Afghanistan that Osama bin Laden was the one who destroyed the Twin Towers, and they needed to arrest him. So that's why they attacked Afghanistan.
And even you said that the crime was not proved, but
Even if, yes, and even if we think that the Twin Towers were destroyed by the Osama bin Laden, was the punishment justified of bombing the entire country and killing millions and millions of innocent people? Like, this is a thing which is beyond someone's imagination. The next incident that happened in the history of the world was in 2004 when America attacked Iraq. So basically, they believed that Saddam Hussein, the country's leader, had weapons of mass destructions, and America showed the world that this was truth. But actually, this was not the truth. This was a big lie, and it was not proven in any court that Iraq had weapons of mass destructions. Yet they attacked Iraq, killed millions and millions of civilians here as well, and now what can you say
and
about
the real reasons were something else, as we all know, that they were in the Iraq and they have the other agenda in the Middle East. But we are talking here about the lies, talking about the moral character. You see that Pakistanis lie as well, but have our lies cost millions and millions of deaths? That is the scale of things.
that is, we need to see the scale of the things as well.
And you discussed the two wars that they have fought, and we have a history. The American history is the history of wars, actually, and the same story is repeated again and again. And we see the support of Israel, the American support of Israel, and the whole world knows that Israel is a terrorist state, and all the countries are unanimous in this. but still it supports it. Now we're talking about human loving people, we are talking about good people, nice people, honest people.
And you see that even then they call us the terrorist people.
Yes.
This is the main problem.
And secondly, another point that we would like to share is the racism, the topic of equality among human beings. And again, the same thing is that we hear, especially among Pakistanis, is that the people in the Europe and America, they are human loving and they treat everybody equally. At the same time, we see this Black Lives Matter movement. It's a big movement in America, and I would like Brother Talha to shed some light on this.
So the Black Lives Matter movement, it started after 2012 and 2013 on social media with the hashtag of Black Lives Matter. And what happened in 2012, that a black teenager, Trayvon Martin, was killed brutally by by a neighborhood person named as Zimmerman. So what happened that this young boy, black boy, unarmed black boy, he was just walking on the street, just normal walking on the street. However, the neighborhood person, Zimmerman, he thought that he had some suspicion on them, on that teenager, Trayvon Martin. So he thought that he is suspicious and he should be treated by police. So he called the police and told him that there's a suspicious black guy here. Police told him to be safe and to hold and not to do anything, because police said that they'll do everything by themselves. But what he did, the white person Zimmerman, he followed him, got into an argument, and shot him and killed him without any reason. He said that he was suspicious. I mean, a black teenager, unarmed black teenager, just walking on the street, and you say that that teenager is suspicious. That totally doesn't make sense.
And they found him as not guilty, actually.
Yes.
They ran a case on him, on Zimmerman, and the court found him as not guilty.
Yeah, he was freed for a lot of weeks, a lot of time. Then just because there were a lot of demonstrations from the black people that we need justice. So just to calm down those people, they arrested him in April 2012. But again, 1 year later, in July 2013, he was released. He said that he shot him in self-defense. That a black teenager Trayvon Martin, was attacking that white man, Zimmerman. Now, who was there to prove that? Neither the court, neither the police, nor the people around them. Nobody proved that. But because that Trayvon Martin, the teenager who was killed, was black, they said that he can do anything. He's a black person and he should be treated like this. I mean, that totally doesn't make any sense. Now, if we go to May 2020, we have a video of a black person, George Floyd. He was brutally killed by a white policeman. Again, that black guy was George Floyd. Well, he was just walking on the street. And what happened? The police came and he thought that he is suspicious. I mean, the police came and they thought that he's suspicious. Around 4 men were there. And one of the policemen, white policemen, he sat over him, knelt down over his neck for 9 minutes. I mean, that's just beyond humanity. That's the lowest point of humanity. That's not how even we treat the animals. It's even worse than that. Okay, so the bystander over there took a shot of that, captured a video, and posted on internet. It was viral on the internet like fire in the forest. So now we see that that's why they started the Black Lives Matter movement. The black people, they say that they do not get any rights, and that's
And
true.
because of this George Floyd, because he was choked.
Yeah,
and
he
he
was
was
choked.
saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And this became actually the slogan then.
Yeah,
And they
another
all had
slogan
their
came.
shirts sitting, I can't breathe. And the whole movement, this became the slogan actually.
Yeah, it became a slogan for the people, and all the black people, I mean, around hundreds and millions of people all over the globe, especially in the United States, United Kingdom and Canada, again raised the Black Lives Matter movement. And this time they did a lot more demonstrations. They were on the streets. They were doing peaceful demonstrations. I mean, they were not, killing the white people. They were just saying that we need justice, we need rights, we are human too. They were like that. I mean, that they are human beings too. We all know we all are human beings. We all are equal. But the white people think that they are superior over everyone.
And yes, if you see the conditions here, the protest, it's a nationwide protest.
Yeah, it's a
And we
nationwide
see
protest.
millions of people on the street, and they are demanding that the police, the white police, to be held accountable. Their claim is very simple, that black people are being killed, and the courts, whenever there is a case on a policeman, they all always are found as not guilty. So there is no justice in the court. Therefore people are on the street, and it's not us who are saying that there is racism in America. It's the people themselves. And it's not just a simple racism, it's basically death. It's basically
Yeah,
black people are killed, and it's not just a small thing. So we are here in the 21st century, and we are talking about black lives. Do they matter or not? That is a
I would like to also add a saying of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that um, the race, the caste, or color does not matter. What we need to see is that we need to give justice to every caste, like every person in any caste, in any color. We need to give him equal rights as we give to the whites. And today we see that we have just forgotten this saying of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
So here we are in the 21st century, but the racism in America, and this is our third topic today. It is a history of racism of the Europeans and the Americans and this white supremacy. And it begins from the slave trade, the discovery, the famous discovery of America by Columbus. And then the Europeans came to America and they grabbed their land, they killed all the Native Americans, and then there was slave trade. And I would like Brother Zakwan to tell us more about transatlantic slave trade.
So basically, the transatlantic slave trade included three countries. Firstly, it was America, which supplied sugar and coffee to Europe. The second country was Europe, basically, which supplied arms, textiles, and wine to Africa. The third country was Africa itself, which, when the Europeans came to Africa, they would give the Africans the goods, the arms, textiles, and etc. And in return, they would forcibly take the Africans to Europe.
Yeah, they used to
enslaved them.
kidnap them.
They would kidnap them, they would abduct them, and on the ship, in the on the voyage, they would keep them in the lower deck of the ship, where the
What's
breathing.
the era? What's the time period of this?
The time period of this was basically, and it was a very vast time period. It was from 16th century to the 19th century, and this continued on for more than 300 years. We cannot imagine what were the atrocities that they were forcing on the black people. They were basically just kept in the lower deck, and it was very difficult for them to breathe. The environment was very nasty and very smelly, and they were only like allowed to come on the upper deck for a few hours, because the crews were only paid for the alive people which they received, and that deads were given no like care. They would just they would be dropped into the sea and etc.
So they just wanted them to stay alive, and the conditions were like
Yes.
very worse.
Yes, and because they wanted the black people to stay alive, and that's why they would only allow them to come upon the upper deck for a few hours. And
What's the
this-
what's the background of why were the people kidnapped and transported to America?
Yes, I'm coming to that point. So this happened for 300 years, and around like 10 to 12 million Africans were just kidnapped and shipped around the world just like that. The main reason was that when Africans were shipped to Europe, the Europe would then sell them to America. And why was that? America also had laborers. They needed them for labor on farms especially, but America wanted some cheap labor. As we know that America is an expensive country, and if they also had men, they also had labor, but it was very costly for them. They had to provide the American people homes, the machineries used in farming, etc. While on the other side, we see that black people, the Africans, they were only bought, and then there was nothing for them. They would be given no food or very little food, and there were no homes for them. They were treated like animals, worse than the enemies, as Brother Talha said. And that's all the story. We learn that again, the hadith of the Prophet, that we should not differentiate between human beings for caste, race, and color.
So you see, this is going on since 16th century, and then again we are here in the 21st century, and we see again the racism in people on the street. So people are brought because they are black into a new land that is captured by Europeans. They are enslaved here, and the racism in the hearts of the people is still fresh in the 21st century. So here we are, yani, the this is the part of our history. But still, if you talk to Pakistanis, they would say no, people of America and Europe, they are human loving.
People in the Pakistan do know about the lies. Many people do know about the lies about the reality behind the curtains of America. But it's like it's hard to believe. It's hard for them to believe that the Americans are better, Europeans are better. I mean, they believe that Europeans are better, but they do know about the lies. But it's hard for them to deny to this reality that West is not honest than us and West is not better than us.
And finally, there was a national crisis, opioid crisis.
Yeah,
Yes,
opioids.
And first, Brother Talha, what can you tell us about this crisis?
Yeah, so it was again America. They started a painkiller type. I mean, they started as a medicine that named it opioid and started selling that in the market. But the reality behind that is that it wasn't a painkiller in reality. It was,
Addictive medicine.
an
A
addictive
drug
medicine which
type.
which would kill people eventually. As we see that I think in the 19th century they started this opioid crisis. So
It was a drug that is old, but actually the crisis became in 2019 actually.
yeah, they
in,
came
in
in
America.
2019 in America.
So the American president at that time was Donald Trump. Itself is a question mark on the honesty of the people. But at his time, he actually announced a national crisis. More than 50,000 people died because of the overusage of opioid.
Yeah,
And
because it was addictive.
what
Then
is the history of it? Because it was banned because it is addictive. But the lies of doctors and the lies of pharmaceutical companies and the American agency FDA,
Yes.
who is supposed to stop these people, they all collaborated, and they made this drug, they legalized it, and they prescribed it, and the pharmaceutical companies paid the doctors to write prescriptions, and at the end we see addiction, and at the end we see death.
killings, deaths.
So this is a profit making from the lives of human beings.
This I wanted to add that opioid is a very expensive drug, and when the doctors prescribe it to the patients, they would then buy it while compromising on their daily needs. Like they would buy the opioid because it is addictive, although they do not need it, but once they are addicted to it, they need it, of course. and they are buying it in place of food, their kids' school fees, and that's why they were gone. All the major people were gone
That's
bankrupt.
actually a very important point, because we say 50,000 people died, but many, many more are actually very adversely affected. People lost their homes, their jobs, their families,
Yeah.
because they couldn't pay the fees, they couldn't pay the loans, and couldn't pay the rent. So this is the reality. We have discussed four topics today, and what this show is that it's a thing that is on the news, that is on the internet. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's not something that we don't know.
It's the truth.
It's truth, actually.
truth.
And all these things show how corrupt the people, the non-Muslims there are. They are not guided by the light of Quran. They don't know the Sunnah and Seerah of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This is what guidance is.
But still, the Pakistanis say that they are better than us.
Why? Because we were slaves as well.
Yep.
Yes.
We were slaves of the British, and we feel proud to be their followers, and that's why we see them as masters. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us. So this was our program today, and inshallah we'll continue this with us, and hope you have enjoyed it. I would like to thank Brother Talha and Brother Zakwan for joining us today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.